Hello and welcome to our session on supported decision making. Um, the Youth Voice, Youth Choice presentation, and um, I'm very happy to be a part of this. And like Jennie said, I had a pleasure of working with her for all the years, and now I'm going to introduce the other ambassadors. But first, I'm going to introduce myself. Hi, my name is Jordan Anderson, and I am 19 years old, and I attend Project Search throughout this year during the fall, during the whole year, and I am um a co-leader and I'm also an ambassador for this project. Now I'm going to introduce you to the other ambassadors. Um, Ashley, want to introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Ashley Mathy. I'm 25 years old and I'm a mentor to the youth right now. And I also speak around the state of Wisconsin, and I also teach people at Headwaters.
All right, Jennie, do you want to introduce yourself, please?
Sure. My name is Jennie. I'm age 24 and I'm from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. And it's my very first time joining the self-determination conference. I'm happy and nervous about it.
All right, you're doing a fabulous job.
Yeah, thanks, Jordan.
Will, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi, my name is Will. I am 18 years old. I live in Oregon, Wisconsin, and I go to the Oregon High School.
All right, that's our ambassadors for this session. So I hope if you have any questions, please put them in the chat, like Jennie said. All right,
Yes.
next slide, please. So, like Jennie said, we have had the great pleasure of getting to know each other throughout these last couple of months, and our work is based on supported decision making. It's an alternative to guardianship, and we work with the Center for Youth Voice, Youth Choice, and it's a 16-week program. And the other two states that are with Wisconsin are Georgia and Vermont. And it's the project started on September 1st, and it talks about alternatives to guardianship.
Okay, and can I just clarify, Jordan? You guys got to go through 16 weeks of training on supported decision making, but our project is 5 years that we're all going to work together.
Yes. Thank you for clarifying, Jennie.
Sure.
Yeah.
But next slide. All right. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my supported decision making story. Believe it or not, last year I was in your very same shoes. I attended this conference, and I wanted to learn more about supported decision making. And believe it or not, I didn't know I would have my court hearing the next day for guardianship determination or not. And this help this same conference helped me retain all my rights such as to vote and to own a gun for hunting. But I uh, last like I said last fall I was in your same shoes, and I learned a lot about supported decision making, and now I'm you co-leader on this project, and I am so grateful that I could share my story with you guys today, and I hope to spread some light on supported decision making so you guys don't go through what I had to go through this time last year. So that's why the self-determination conference is so special to me.
And Jordan, yeah, you had such an incredible story. Hearing about supported decision making the day before your hearing. So, what did you do when you learned about this at the conference and knew your hearing was the next day? What did you do that kind of changed everything for you?
Well, I didn't know, believe it or not, I didn't know that I had my court hearing the next day, but I knew my parents were talking about it. Like, I didn't know it was related to this. So I went home and talked to my family members and loved ones, and I told them what I all learned about this conference, and I said this might happen to me, and please don't let it happen because I love to have the say in who I want to represent me, and that really would bother me if I wouldn't have gotten to lose my right to vote and my right to hunt and several other different things. So I was so happy that I was able to attend this session last year, and just telling my parents what I learned.
And thankfully, it's great. Your parents listen to you because they could have said, well, we're too far down the road. It's tomorrow. But they really listened to you and decided we need to, put a hold on this. And so you retained all your rights. You don't have
Yes,
any guardianship, but it sounds like voting and hunting were two of the most important rights you were concerned about, right?
yes.
And then you use for finances and healthcare, what have you used to manage that? Because you do need some assistance with that.
All right. So I have my parents for my uh power of healthcare. I have my parents help me if I have an important decision that comes up, and like if I need to have a surgery, they like advise me like what I should do, and like they don't have the final decision, but they ultimately advise me, and same with finances. They can take money out of my bank, but they can't use it for themselves.
Great, thank you. So you have a couple alternatives there that you still have support, but you kept your rights. And we're gonna get it more into that later. Thanks, Jordan.
Yes. Thank you, Jenny, for clarifying. Let's talk about self-determination. For those who are listening to the presentation, if you have something that you're self-determined about, you can put that in the chat. But what is what is self-determination? Jenny.
Oh, hold on, sorry. One moment. To me, self-determination means to speak up for yourself and know it's right. And it also means to defend yourself. And I forgot the rest. Sorry.
All right. Well, what does self-determination mean to you?
Mm-hmm.
It it means to stand up for yourself and what is important to you.
And before I go on, it how many of you are self-determined? All right. You
I
can
guess.
put what you're self-determined about in the chat, and you need to make choices so you feel comfortable when the time comes to make your choices, and the more choices you'll make are are better for you in the long run, and then you'll be comfortable in the long run. when you have to make an important choice, who who I'm who I'm gonna have like be my power of attorney or stuff like that. So I advise you to keep making choices, and it will help you out in the long run. All right, next slide, please. How many of you have dreams and goals, and what are they? Like, one day I want to run for political office. Ashley, what is your goals for the future, dreams for the future?
All right, so I want to get an apartment, but I do plan to get the Nobel Peace Prize, but it's probably not until I'm going to be dead. But I'm going to work really hard to empower advocates, and that's the main goal.
Well, you're doing that already, so thank you so much for empowering me to keep going. And you, in my book, you deserve the Nobel Peace Prize already. Um, all right. If you want to join us tomorrow at 2:20, we're gonna have a dreams and goals game to determine what your dreams and goals are. So I encourage all of you to come on our meetup, and we can determine what some of your dreams and goals are. And I promise you it will be very fun.
Awesome. And I just want to say in here, there was a message in the chat that Carrie shared with everybody that they had a similar experience to yours, Jordan, that they were at the self-determination conference and heard about supported decision-making and were on track to go for guardianship. And this information helped them change their direction. So they're now using this instead of guardianship.
All right. It's I'm so grateful that other people have had this much experience with supported decision making, and I'm not the only one. So thank you for reading that, Jenny, and thank you Carrie. And if you have any other comments, just please keep them coming in the chat. All right, next slide. What kind of choices do you make every day? Um, Will, what kind of choices do you make every day?
Well, my choices is I make my lunch every day, and I do my classes at school. Or do my classes at school.
Those are very good choices and basic necessities that we have to make every day. So very good answers. Ashley, what kind of choices do you make every day?
Okay, whether I want to go shopping or whether I would, want to go to a Packer game, but I prefer shopping.
All right. That's very good. That's a very good example. Jenny, is there something you need to add on this slide, or are we good to go on this slide?
Yeah, I just wanted to tell you about my goals and my choices like in life. So my goals are to be more independent, live independently, get my own apartment, maybe one day, and work more hours, and also get my driver's license so I can have a car, which is really expensive and difficult to get. And my other goal is to not be so camera shy, which I still am. But
Jenny, you're working on that, and that's the good plus about this. Jenny, that's a very good goal. Those very good goals to have. So, Jenny,
yeah.
is there
Yeah,
any?
I also wanted to talk about my decisions. So my decisions are to stay at home and be safe, and then go to work and try to survive and earn some monies. Even during this pandemic, I'm still trying to survive. And my other goal is to work at Panera Bread for at least 1 year, and I hope that becomes successful.
All right. Fantastic goals.
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Jordan.
Jennie Lugart, is there anything to add on this one?
Sorry.
Yeah, I just want to mention how important it is to make your own choices. Do a lot of you make your own choices? You can wave your hand, or there is a reactions button in your toolbar that can give you a thumbs up or things like that if you want to let us know. But making your choices is very important, because the younger you start making your own choices, the easier that becomes as an adult, and the choices kind of get bigger. So the more experience you have, the easier that can be as you get older. And I am older than these guys. We specifically, this project is about youth ambassadors talking to other young adults. So I kind of just want to address parents that might be in the audience, that to think about what are the choices that you're making for your child right now, and how can you help them learn to make some of the choices on their own. So even if you do a lot of that, think about where are the opportunities to let them make more of their own choices. Again, because the more it's a skill, and the more practice they have, the less scary it'll be, and the better off both you and your child will be in the future.
Very, very well said, Jennie Lugart. All right, now I'm going to pass it off to Ashley, and I'll see you guys in a little bit.
All right, so I'm gonna have a little humor with you guys a little bit. Okay, so I'm gonna read the definition of supported decision making. What is supported decision making? A set of strategies that help individuals with disabilities have more control over their life and future. And involves family and friends working together with individuals to support them in complex decisions. Okay, next slide. Okay, so everybody who knows me knows I love plain language, okay? So I'm gonna say, huh? What does that mean exactly, okay? So basically, a short version is supportive decision-making is the way most of us make decisions in our life. So for example, you can choose to pick between jelly donut and French toast. But if you wanted a friend or anybody in your circle to help you make those decisions, you can ask for help. So that's what supportive decision making is. So that's easier version. I love the easier version, by the way. Anyways, next slide. All right. How do we make decisions? What do we do if we're not familiar in something? Relationships. So what if, for example, you have a significant other that you really think is great and whatever, and you want a friend's opinion, maybe a parent's opinion, you would go to them. Or medical care, I have a gallstone. What am I going to do, So I would have to ask someone else. Car repairs, you would probably have to ask someone that is good at mechanics. Okay, what do you do when you have a decision to make? I would say, think it through. And if you want to keep it to yourself and make the decision yourself, you got the dignity of risk. If you make a mistake, what could happen, right? Next slide.
So can we also hear from Jordan about what he does to make decisions?
Yes. Jordan, what do you do to make decisions?
I consult with my parents because they're my power of attorney and my power of attorney for health and finances.
Jennie, what do you do to make decisions for yourself?
Sometimes I think once or twice before I do something, and make the best decisions that I could before I make like any stupid decisions,
Well, that's good, right?
Yeah.
Sleep on it and maybe ask a mentor,
Yeah, thanks, Ashley.
mentor or someone that knows have more experience, right?
Yes.
That's a very good thing. Thank you,
Yes,
Jennie.
actually, it is. I
All
mean, you're
right,
welcome.
Will, what are kind of some decisions you make?
Yeah.
I look it up on the internet and write the things down that I'm thinking about my choices.
Okay, so your approach is kind of like not asking someone and figuring it out yourself because you don't want the
Yes.
nagging. I totally get you. Well, next time. All right. Okay, what if I make the wrong choice? At some point in everyone's life, they make a bad choice, a bad decision, or a bad choice. That's okay. Okay. So for example, I was learning how to do screenshots the other day. I couldn't do it for about, 30 minutes. Then I read the instructions again, and then eventually I learned, okay? So I'm just like the egg that got cracked and got scrambled. So again, if you make the wrong decision, you get up again, it's a new day, and now I can make an omelet out of the egg. And these decisions, if we don't have the dignity of risk, we do not learn from our mistakes. We're actually more in danger if we don't make our own decisions. So it actually does not make a person safer if they do not make their own decisions themselves. So that's something I want to point out to you. I understand wanting to protect people because I love to protect people too, but at the same time, they need to make decisions for themselves. And if they fall, they're going to learn and then be better people. So just like the egg, it's going to be turned into an omelet. Anyways, next slide.
Ashley, I just wanted to mention, I think there's something on this side.
Yeah, so we were talking that parents do worry a lot. So we were going to ask Jordan and Will, what do your parents worry about for you?
All right, I can go first, and then I'll toss it over to Will. My parents, especially starting a new year out in Project Search, I'm no longer at my high school anymore. So my parents worry about when I go to new places about getting around to new buildings and if there's any new stairs or anything like that, and just making sure I get around the buildings and the hospital more safely.
All right. So, Will, what do your parents worry about?
My mom worries about me going out and getting my license and relationships.
All right. So I understand, cars, but eventually, you're going to learn how to do, ride a car, right? And then you're
Yes.
going to maybe drive someone to Colorado, right? And have a fun trip, right?
Right.
And relationships, if you end up with a bad person, right? You just dump them, right?
Yes.
Say another one bites the dust in another way, funny way.
Yes.
All right. I think that's a good example.
And Ashley, one of the things we've talked about that we really want to try to get across in these presentations for some of the adults in the audience is that parents worry. Nothing's going to stop parents from worrying, but for parents to really think about, is guardianship really going to protect you from the things you're worried about? Is that piece of paper going to stop something from happening that you're worried about? And most of the time, the answer is no. If you're worried about a relationship, a guardianship isn't going to stop a relationship from happening, or other things like that. So decision making and having a good relationship can help with that. But a piece of paper that says you have guardianship over someone isn't going to stop a lot of things. So we just want parents to be thinking about that.
And it also can affect your mental health, the person's mental health, having all these restrictions on their choices. And and again, the person could go off in a car and go with that guy or girl anyway. So you're pretty much better off doing supportive decision making.
Good point, Ashley.
All right. Having choices is important. Having choices means having control over your life, okay? So if you have choices like, can I go here when I want to? Or if it's a bad snowstorm, do I really want to go out? Or those kind of things make you have value in your life, make you happy. If you get to choose your friends or your significant other, these are all things that we all want as human beings. So when we don't have these choices, it leads to depression and so many other things that we just don't want to have. When you have choices, you feel better and have more control of your life. Obviously, if you get to choose your relationship, get to choose your friends, get to vote, all those things are amazing things that human rights have. And having that makes people happy and that they're going to grow and be the adults that they want to be. And they will have nothing that will stop them. So that's that just having that supportive decision making is making a whole lot of difference. Choosing to do something means taking responsibility for your actions. Okay. So for example, guys, if I choose to drink 5 sodas, okay, I'm going to be really hyper, okay? And it's going to make me really energized during the day. It's probably not the best decision to make, right? Drink 5 sodas in a day? And I'm drinking a lot of sugar too, right? That's not good for me. But if I choose to do that, then I have to be, control my hyperness, right? And if I was doing that at work, my boss might say, Ashley, what's happening to you? And look at me with this face. That would be a consequence, right? We all have consequences for our action. Okay, now let's talk about safety. So if I was going to be in a relationship that was, regarding safety, the person was being aggressive towards me or something, then I would have to get out of it before I would have any safety measures that would allow me to be unsafe. So you also have to talk about safety regarding you can't have choices, but do you want to deal with the safety or deal with the consequences of your choices? Those are kind of like two things, because everybody, whether they have a disability or not, have to deal with consequences of their choices. Anyways, is there anything else, Jennie, you wanted to add?
That's great.
You mean me or Jennie Newgard?
Jennie Newgard.
Oh,
Okay.
Sorry.
Everyone needs support. What kind of supports do you need for education, money, health, social, and other? And who helps you? So, Jennie, who helps you with your social piece?
Usually my mom and my job coach, and sometimes my boss helps me out, and other times my social worker helps me out too. I think they're a really good support system.
I'm very proud of you. You seem like you've got a good head on your shoulders.
Thanks. I'm proud of you too.
All right. So,
yeah.
Who helps you with your money?
Yeah.
Myself and my parents.
So again, you don't want help with your money. You want to do it yourself because you don't want to get nagged.
Yes.
I feel you, Will. I feel you. All right. That's all we have. Right? Jordan.
You can ask Jordan too.
Jordan, who helps you with your education stuff?
Well, when I was in school and I'm still in school, but when I was in school, my teachers and my paraprofessionals helped me. But when I was in school, I had a person that read me the test and was my scribe because it's harder for me to write. So that's who helps me with my education stuff.
Okay, so you're asking for an accommodation, and
Yes.
you work best with someone helping, write things for you, and that's a perfectly logical explanation, logical accommodation, right?
Yes. Ashley, uh, who helps you with a lot of these choices?
Well, sometimes, I try to think about it myself, kind of like Will does. But then I ask someone if I kind of get really stuck. Again, I like to be a go-getter and try to figure it out myself first. But if I get in a pickle, then I ask someone.
All right, that's a perfectly logical explanation.
I thought so, Jordan. I thought that we add a little humor to this. Okay, next slide.
And speaking of education, Jordan, I think your former teacher, Ms. Brown, and her class are on here and gave you a shout out.
Thank you. I got a message from them this morning, so I'm glad to see that you made it on here.
Excellent. So these are all decisions that a supported decision-making agreement can help you with. So you can decide together with whoever your supporter is without having to take away any rights.
All right. So who am I supposed to hand this out to?
This is
Jennie?
Will, yeah.
Okay. So Will, take it away.
All right. We are going to learn about Wisconsin supporting decision making law. I'm gonna tell you a little bit about Wisconsin supporting decision law. We are lucky to live in Wisconsin. We were one of the very first states to have the law like this. Next page. Next slide. Supporting decision-making agreements help people get the help they need to make decisions. You can pick people to help you get the information, make choices, and share these with people who need to know. The agreements lets doctors and others know who can help with my decisions. Next slide. Supporting decision-making agreements are easy to complete, and you can have more than one agreement at a time if you need.
So Ashley, do you have some questions for Will? You're muted, Ashley.
All right. Can I have a supporter to help me with a bank account?
Yes.
Can I have a supporter to help me with a doctor's appointment, Will?
Yes.
Can I have a supporter to help me with job services?
Yes.
Awesome. So I can still make my own decisions, but if I need help, I have all these supports?
Yes.
So I really don't need to go on guardianship, Will?
No.
Awesome. That would make me so much happier, Will.
Will, can your supporters make decisions for you?
No.
All right, thank you.
If you change your mind about who you want to support you, it's easy to change your agreement. Check out the toolkit. Next slide.
Yep, and that toolkit is linked in the program.
The great thing about supporting decision making is that I have help and keep my civil rights. The decisions I make are mine. I sign my own letter, legal doctors, and I have people help me track my goals.
Okay, so you sign your own legal documents.
Yes.
Yep. And I think we'll go to the next one because we asked those questions already.
You can have many agreements as you need for different decisions. My supporters are my mom, my dad, my Uncle Bill, my my case manager, and my sister too. Now, Jennie is going to
Before
tell
you
us.
move on, Will, can I ask you quick?
Yes.
Can you have more than one supporter in the same agreement?
Yes.
Yes. One moment, please. Okay, so do I read now?
Yes, go ahead.
Okay, that's fine. What does a supporter do? The possible roles of the supporter are limited to number one, helping you understand the pros and cons of a decision and just talking through the decision until you are comfortable making up your own mind. Number two, researching information to help you decide. They find information you need or want to know to help you make up your mind. Number three, helping you understand the information that you've collected. Your supporter can help you ask questions or give you information you might not have thought of. And number four, helping you communicate your decision. They can work with you to let others know what you have decided, like your doctor, for example. Next slide, please. Perfect, thanks. Support can change based on a person's needs. People can learn how to make decisions. As we get older and have more practice on making decisions, we get better at it. That is true for people with and without a disability. Supported decision-making is flexible and can be updated easily. This is helpful because a person's decision-making ability and confidence gets better over time. Some people may always need help making some decisions like medical decisions, but may be able to work on other decisions on their own. Next slide, please. That's perfect, thanks. Supports in school and with agencies. Students with disabilities can use supported decision-making agreements so their parents can keep going to their IEP meetings. You can also just use a release of information form and invite whoever you want to your IEP. Oh, sorry. It's important to know that you don't need guardianship for parents to keep going to your IEP meetings after you turn 18. The same is true for the DVR meetings and other meetings with other service agencies. Next slide. Now we're going to talk about schools and supported decision making. So schools are one of the first places where parents hear about guardianship. Since the supported decision making law was passed, schools are supposed to tell parents about that option and other alternatives to guardianship. Some schools aren't doing this yet. Judges are also now required to consider if any alternatives to guardianship, including supported decision-making, have been tried, and if less restrictive means could be used before they rule on a guardianship. Young adults need to know these options as well, so you can speak up about what you want to happen, like in the future. Next slide. think we're still talking about school, young people who transition into the adult world. So using supported decision making helps young people transition into adulthood. Even if you are under 18, you can practice making decisions. Parents can involve their child in increasing amounts of decision making. For example, you can let your kids do things like what to wear to school, what to eat for lunch, what elective classes to take in school, what extracurricular activities to do, and where/when to open a bank account. Remember, guardianship is a very restrictive and permanent step to take, and it is not easily removed. Start with the least restrictive option first. Guardianship does not need to be done by the age of 18. So don't let anyone make you feel rushed to get it done. Don't let anyone pressure you either. People with disabilities need the chance to learn how to be more independent. Now let's hear about some other alternatives to guardianships.
Awesome, great
I
job,
think
Jennie.
that's the last slide. Thanks, Jennie.
That is yours, yes. So I just wanted to
Mhm.
mention too, because the slide is a lot about choice making, that Family Voices is a great agency that puts out really good materials geared towards parents in particular, and they're working on a choice making guide. So that will help you like figure out, at this age, what are some good choices my kids could be making, and it kind of takes you all the way through. So that will be a really good companion, I think, for supported decision making to help parents kind of to figure that stuff out. And I just really want to drive home the point that Jennie made on this slide about guardianship not needing to be done at 18. We hear all the time that parents typically hear either from their doctor or from the school when their kids are about 17 that, oh, they're going to turn 18, it's time for guardianship, and it's kind of presented as the only option when that's not true. But I will say supported decision making is still a fairly new option in our state. So a lot of people just aren't familiar with it yet. So while schools are supposed to tell families about all the options, we're still sort of in that stage where everyone is learning what is this option, how can it be used, is this practical, and sometimes it can feel safer to stick with what's known. So we're hoping that presentations like this will just make it clear that it doesn't have to be done by the time someone turns 18. A lot of things that you'll need to do can be covered with a simple release of information form. So we're going to actually go into that next. So there are other alternatives to guardianship too, besides supported decision making. So I want to give you just a quick overview of what some of those things are, because there's a really nice, oh boy. There we go. Okay. So you can kind of see on this slide at the bottom here where it says less limiting to more limiting. So if we start on the left with the green column, that's the release forms I just mentioned. So especially for IEPs, if you're still in school when you turn 18, one of the first things parents worry about is I want to be at the IEP meeting. And that's very simple. Your child can sign a release form that you can be in the IEP meeting, and they can invite anybody that they want to the IEP meeting. And you'll find that most agencies, service agencies, have these release, probably all of them, have this release of information form. So you can still be at the table with your child while you're talking about future options. The next column over is the supported decision-making agreements that we've mentioned. There's an actual form that you can download from the toolkit, and there is a link in the next slide. So if you download our materials from the website, you can get access to all these materials. This is a legal agreement. So this supported decision-making was put into law in our state about 3 years ago, which makes the agreement a legal document. So a person just identifies what area they want support in. It could be one area, it could be many. They identify who they want to help them, which could be different people for different areas, because like Ashley mentioned, one person might have an expertise in one area, but you want someone else in a different area. For example, I go to my brother-in-law for anything related to my car. I might go to my sister for anything with financial because she works at a bank. So we all naturally do that. You can do the same thing with your supported decision-making agreement. And as we've mentioned many times, it can be changed anytime very easily. Then we move to the middle blue box here, and you could have someone be a representative payee for you. So if you get like Social Security benefits through the Social Security Administration, you can appoint someone to get those benefits and help you manage them. And you can change your rep payee or appoint someone through an application process with the Social Security Administration. So if that's really the only area you need help in, is like some of that financial management, you may only need a rep payee, and then you can keep all your other rights. The next option is a power of attorney or a medical proxy. Jordan mentioned that his parents have that for financial and medical issues. So that's a little bit more of a formal process. There are documents that you sign, and you appoint people for that as well. And you want to think about, who would that be? Who do you trust the most? A lot of times you see that for medical decisions. So if you were to be incapacitated in some way, meaning you couldn't speak or tell someone your wishes, maybe you ended up in the hospital, you were unconscious or something like that. You never know what's going to happen. You've already got someone appointed who can help make decisions on your behalf. And then the most limiting of the options is either a limited or a full guardianship, where you're taking away some or all of the rights that people have. So it's like the right to marry, to vote, to sign a lease. There's a whole list of rights that people have. So the other thing people don't know is that you can also do a limited guardianship, where you can actually pick and choose which rights a person can keep or that you want to take. Most judges, though, in the state tend to just do sort of an all or nothing. They either take away all the rights or not. So it's something to keep in mind if you do feel that guardianship is the right choice in your situation. It's a little more difficult to get a judge to say, yes, you can keep these two rights and we're going to take all the others, because what they're really doing in a legal judgment like that is saying that this person is incompetent and cannot make their own decisions. And you do have to go in front of a judge and you have to say that in front of the person, that I think this person's incompetent. I don't think a lot of people understand that either. And as Ashley mentioned, mentally that can be very hard on the person. It's also a costly process. So I want to just say again that you can try these other forms of assistance to help somebody make decisions before you get to the full guardianship. You don't have to do that by the time they turn 18. The other issue with guardianship is if you change your mind later, it is virtually impossible to get it reversed because the judge has already declared the person incompetent. Very hard to get a judge to then say that person is now competent to make their own decisions. So if you change your mind later, it's very hard to fix that. And then I just want to show you these links, and then we'll get to questions. I see a few coming in. So BPDD has put together a toolkit that you can access we've got our presentations in there. There's information sheets. There's like a frequently asked questions. guide. There's more information on the guardianship alternatives, the actual agreement itself you can download. So really anything that's out there about supported decision-making, you can find at that link, as well as just going directly to the agreement if you're interested in that. So with that, we are ready to take questions. I'm going to stop share so I can see you better. And Jordan, there's a couple people with their hands up if you want to start with them, and then I'll look at the chat while you're doing that.
All right. I'll take one at a time, but if one of you at a time speak, and then I'll try to answer your questions. Ashley, do you want to help call on people with me?
Of course, Jordan, I can do that. Okay, who is the 715381?
That'd be me, Ashley.
All right, Ramsey. What's your question?
Thank you for presenting a great job. What advice would you give to the other advocates on here that because I know people that have guardians, and for some of them are traumatizing. What advice do you give to people that want their independence? Yeah. All right. I can go first, and then Ashley, you can add to that. But for those who didn't hear the question, he's asking what advice would you would give to people that are under guardianship. I would like I would say try to like educate more people because the less people that we have won't be in this situation in the long term. And like Jenny said, it's very hard to limit like get it reversed. So you can also try that, but I recommend trying other alternatives first because the other thing is gonna be really hard, and it will be a financial burden for you and your family and your loved ones to hire an attorney over and over and over. The other thing I would tell people is that sometimes you can get a free attorney for Medicare, but before you go to guardianship, I would strongly suggest the alternatives that Jordan and Ashley and Jennie are talking about because they're really helpful. So thank you.
Thank you, before you move on?
So I was
sorry, Jordan. Ramsey, you brought up a good point there that if you are under guardianship now, you can still use supported decision-making practices. You can still talk to the person who has guardianship and make those decisions together. So it's not too late.
All right, I was gonna add something quick, Jenny, if you don't mind.
Okay.
I think that it did, start in 2018. So a lot of people who are 25, 26 didn't have the option to choose from the supported decision making. So just kind of showing people how, you know, when people make more choices, they're more happier, they're more well cared for, those kind of things. And when you don't have your own choices, it affects everybody's mental health. Let's not talk about people with disabilities. Let's talk about everyone. It affects everyone. You know, everybody's gonna get cranky. Everybody's gonna have more behaviors. You know, behavior is communication, right? So if I would give anybody advice that is going through this, definitely don't get guardianship. Get the supportive decision making if you can get it right away. Anyways, Jordan, do you want to call Michael now?
All right, Michael. You're on mute, Michael.
Okay, I'm unmuted. Sorry about that.
All
Hey,
right.
hey, Senator Anderson, and Ashley and everybody. I'm calling Senator Anderson that because Senator Todd from Georgia, they're going to be difference makers, and it was great to lead y'all this last 16 weeks or so, and look forward to meeting you every month. But I want to know, what is the one thing that you would like to tell others about the program that you learned that you did not know, you know?
Well, thank you for coming on the session. I was really happy to see your face when I saw everybody come on the session. But um, what I took away from the program, you guys did an excellent job teaching every like session. But I was just amazed how every buddy had a different story, and I like that you allowed us to uh, go out in breakout rooms and share it with everybody, and like seeing the different types of states and like Georgia and Vermont, and what all they had to offer to the table. So that's what I like most about the training.
Anyone else want to respond to that? Ashley, Will, or Jenny?
So I just wanted to say that, you know, I learned like that, you know, supportive decision making is an alternative to guardianship, and about the choices that you could, you know, possibly make, like have a parent or someone deciding for, which I hadn't learned about this because I'm 25 years old now, and I wish that people would have taught me this at a younger age. This this supportive decision making, because it would have opened my eyes to more opportunities. And I guess it's just, you know, helping mentor people has really kind of like inspired me, you know, to figure out new techniques to help them. And I just really love coming up with plain language versions, and we found different ways to accommodate like recording. And I'm just love to learn. So I just have enjoyed this so much. So that's all I gotta say is.
And I just noticed we're at time, but there's one last question that someone from the iPhone asked about. To make this agreement, do you also have to have power attorney in medical and financial areas? The answer is no, you don't have to do that. The agreement can cover everything, or you may find yourself in a circumstance where it does make sense to do the power of attorney for like medical or something like that. But you can start with the agreement, just the agreement to cover those issues. And then if you're finding that's not enough, you can move up. So there's more information in the toolkit on that though.
And Jenny, before we go, I just want to remind everybody, if you, I don't know if you have the Zoom link handy, but if you guys want to know more about dreams and goals, like I said earlier, there's a unique opportunity for, and you'll get to see me and Ashley will be running the game, and Jenny will also be there. So hope to see you guys tomorrow at 2:20, and for those who aren't in Wisconsin time, maybe 2:20 is the time.
Oh, thanks for that reminder, Jordan. Thanks everybody for coming. If you have questions, just contact us at BPDD and we'll be happy to work through it with you.
Thank you.